If this message reaches you, it is meant for you. For anyone seeking inner peace today, you are not the mind. Listen. There is a kind of healing that does not require words, rituals, or noise. A healing that does not come from effort, struggle, or trying to fix yourself. A healing that does not come from the outside at all. It comes from silence. The inner silence Joel Goldsmith spoke about his entire life. A silence that is not empty, but full. Full of presence. Full of God. Full of truth. I want to speak directly to your heart today, because I know something about you. You've been carrying more than you admit. You've been strong for too long. You've been moving through life with the weight of memories, responsibilities, losses, heartbreaks, and unspoken fears. And some nights, when the world gets quiet, your soul whispers the same question: will I ever truly be healed? The answer, my friend, is yes, but not in the way you think, not through effort, not through noise, not through trying harder, but through the deep healing that comes only in silence, the silence where God finally reaches you. Silence is not the absence of sound. Silence is the absence of resistance. Silence is when you stop wrestling with life long enough for God to do what you cannot. Let me take you into real stories, real American lives, where this truth became more than a teaching. It became a lifeline. There was a woman from Michigan who wrote about losing her husband in a tragic accident. She said the nights were unbearable. The house felt empty, the world felt cold, and her thoughts were a battlefield. Friends told her to stay busy, to stay social, to keep moving, but nothing helped. The grief was louder than every distraction. One night, she walked outside onto her porch, sat down, and simply stopped. No music, no phone, no prayer begging for miracles. Just silence. She said she didn't expect anything. She didn't try to calm down. She simply sat inside her own brokenness, and something happened. She felt warmth, not from the air. It was a cold night, but from within her chest. A warmth that moved like a soft tide. She didn't hear a voice, yet she felt one. She said it felt like God was saying, "I'm here." Not loud, not dramatic, not supernatural, just a quiet presence that held her pain with compassion. That night didn't erase her loss, but it began her healing. She wrote, "Silence didn't give me answers. It gave me presence. And presence gave me strength." This is how God heals through silence. Not by changing your circumstances, but by changing you. Let me take you to another story. A Marine veteran from North Carolina who struggled with PTSD. He couldn't sleep. Loud noises would shake him. His mind was always racing. He tried therapy, medication, long drives, late-night TV, everything. Nothing reached the place where his pain lived. One day, his therapist suggested something simple. Sit in silence for 2 minutes a day. He laughed at first. 2 minutes won't fix what I've seen, but he tried it anyway. He said those first 2 minutes were awful. The mind screamed, the memories surged. But after a week, something shifted. He saw the mind like a storm, and he saw a small stillness beneath the storm. A place untouched by war, untouched by trauma. A place that felt like home. He said, "For the first time in years, I felt God in the quiet." I wasn't healed instantly, but the healing began the moment I stopped trying to heal myself and allowed silence to hold me. This is the mystery Joel Goldsmith taught. Silence heals because silence is where God is most easily felt. See, God does not speak in the noise of your fear. God whispers in the stillness beneath it. God does not shout over your anxiety. God waits for the moment you stop fighting it. God does not enter through busyness. God enters through surrender. You don't chase healing. You become quiet enough to receive it. There's a man from Oregon who shared a story about his divorce. He said he spent months trying to fill the silence. TV on all night, music blasting in the car, meaningless conversations, endless scrolling on his phone. He was terrified to sit alone with himself. But one night, his power went out during a winter storm. Everything went dark and quiet. No distractions, no noise, no escape, just himself. And silence. He said it was the first time he had heard his own heart in months. And in that silence, memories he had buried came up, not to hurt him, but to be released. Tears came like a river. He said it felt like something inside him broke open, and then softened. And in that moment, he felt a peace he could not explain. A peace that didn't come from thought. A peace that didn't come from logic. A peace that didn't come from understanding. A peace that came from presence. God heals not because you ask loudly, but because you become quiet enough to feel Him. Let me take you deeper. Think about the last time you stood by the ocean, maybe in Florida, California, or the East Coast. You looked at the waves, and suddenly your mind became quiet. The problems didn't disappear, but something softer took over. A presence, a calmness, a sense that life was holding you. That wasn't the ocean. That was you, the silent part of you awakening. Or think about the last time you sat in your car in a parking lot after a long day, too tired to move. You closed your eyes for just a moment. And there, in that pause, something in you relaxed, something in you let go. Something in you whispered, "It's going to be okay." That wasn't exhaustion. That was God speaking, and the only language He uses, stillness. People misunderstand silence. They think silence is emptiness. Silence is not empty. Silence is where the divine is loudest. Silence is where truth rises. Silence is where intuition wakes up. Silence is where your soul breathes. Silence is where your healing begins. Joel Goldsmith said, "In the silence of our being, God's grace is felt." Not because God comes to us, but because we finally stop leaving Him. This is important. God is not far from you. You are just far from your own silence. Let me share a story from a single mother in Ohio. She had 2 kids, 2 jobs, and barely any time for herself. She told me she would go into the bathroom at night, sit on the floor, turn off the lights, and breathe for 60 seconds in silence. She said those 60 seconds saved her. She didn't hear voices. She didn't have visions. But she felt upheld, strengthened, balanced, she said. Silence became my medicine. That's the power of inner stillness. There's a deeper truth. Silence is not something you create. Silence is something you return to. Under your thoughts, silence is there. Under your worries, silence is there. Under your anxiety, silence is there. Under your grief, silence is there. Under your doubt, silence is there. Under your entire life story, silence is there. Silence is your true nature. Silence is where God meets you. Life becomes easier when you stop trying to hear God with your mind and start feeling God with your silence. Let me take you even deeper. There was a young woman from Texas who struggled with panic attacks. Every attack made her feel like she was dying. Her heart raced. Her breath shortened. Her mind screamed. One night, during one of her worst episodes, she fell to the floor crying. She said she whispered, "God, please do something." But nothing changed. Then suddenly, she stopped. Not because she chose to, but because she had no strength left to fight. She became still, and in that stillness, the panic softened. Her breath slowed. Her body relaxed. She felt a warmth spreading through her chest. She said it felt like someone was holding her from the inside. She later said, "I realized God wasn't ignoring me. I was too loud inside myself to feel Him." That's the truth many people never understand. God is not silent. You are just noisy inside. Silence isn't something you force. Silence happens the moment you stop resisting life. And when silence happens, healing begins. Let me share one more story, one that touches me deeply. An elderly man from Tennessee, nearing the end of his life, told his grandson, "When I was young, I used to think God spoke loudly. Now I know he speaks softly, and only in silence. The grandson asked, "How do you know?" The old man smiled and said, "Because the older I get, the quieter I become. Silence reveals God because silence is God. And now, I want you to experience this truth. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly. Let the mind soften. Let the heart loosen. Let the shoulders drop. Let the noise pass like a wave. Feel that stillness underneath your breath, that presence beneath your thoughts, that peace that appears without effort. That is God healing you. Every time you enter that silence, even for a moment, God touches the places inside you that words cannot reach. And if this message touched your heart, listen carefully, subscribe, not for the numbers, not for the algorithm, but because you deserve reminders of who you really are, a soul held by presence, guided by stillness, and healed by silence. And if you feel grateful for this message, if it brought peace to your heart, if it felt like a hand on your shoulder, you can also tap super. Thanks to support this work and help these messages reach more people who are hurting quietly inside themselves. Thank you for listening. May silence heal you. May presence guide you. May God meet you in the quiet places of your soul.